Two prototype builds for Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days surfaced earlier this year. One's from April 10th, 2010, the other's from January 21st, 2009. Over a year apart, and you can really see it. The one from 2010 looks mostly complete. The one from 2009 is much rougher, but for now we're going to focus on the 2010 build, because that does have a lot of interesting stuff under the surface. For reference, Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days came out in August of 2010, so there were about 4 months between this build and the final release. What makes it interesting is right out the gate when you start playing. Find cover! It'll display some debug messages. There's an FPS counter in the top right, and if there are too many objects in the scene, it'll give you a performance warning message. It'll say too many objects in the scene, should be more than 1.0, and it'll list the amount, and then potentially too many triangles, giving a geometry limit of 500,000. That's good and all, but how does that affect gameplay? Well, not really. There are some differences, some minor ones. Like when Lynch tackles Singh and kills him, that sound. It's not in the final game for some reason. In the final level, Lynch uses the SPAS 12, which he doesn't. Normally the SPAS 12 is multiplayer only. Mildly interesting stuff. The ending is also slightly different. The ending has the cameraman in the final version just kind of dropped to the ground after getting shot. In this version, you see the police surround and confront him before shooting him. Again, Kane and Lynch escape on the hijacked jet airliner. It's, again, minor difference, still interesting. What is really interesting is under the surface, because you can activate a debug menu, and with that come a lot of options, stuff from skipping levels and everything of that sort. What I find interesting are the weapon selection options. You can scroll through all the guns of the game, including stuff from Fragile Alliance, and leftovers from the first game, and stuff cut from this game. And depending on the level you're playing, you can load those weapons in and use them. So in the final level, you can equip yourself with the SPAS 12 with this. In some levels, you can load in guns that don't appear normally, like the MP5, the SP89. That can be loaded into a couple levels. There are some guns, like the Scorpion, that appears in Out of Shanghai, if you use the debug menu. What's most surprising are, again, the leftovers and cut stuff. Some of the guns from the first Kane and Lynch make a comeback here, like the M249 SPW, the RPG, the Remington 700. The SPW can be loaded into Airstrike, the chopper level, and it can be used as an MG there. It has a proper model, sounds, animations aren't perfect, but it works there. Same goes for the RPG. It is not meant to be used by players, but it is equipable, and it's very broken. Deals a ton of damage, blows stuff up. Because of the way that level works, you basically have infinite ammo. You can load it into Fragile Alliance too, and it's as buggy there as you'd expect it to be. Something on the list that is odd is the Remington 700. It kind of works. There are no bolt-action snipers in this game. There's just the QBU-88, with or without a scope. The Remington 700 almost works. If you just hip-fire it, it'll still function as a regular weapon. Trying to zoom in crashes the game. I'm guessing that's because they don't have a proper scope material. I'm guessing they didn't carry that over from the first game. It also isn't the best because, again, you're firing a sniper rifle. The animations, they look okay. They're passable. It's only loadable in Fragile Alliance, too. You can't load it in any single-player level, sadly. And then there's a gun that appears in no game of Kane and Lynch. Not in the first, not in the final version of the second. The Type 81. Now, this is a Chinese AK variant, made to replace the Type 63. That was a cross between the SKS and the AK, and it didn't really perform up to snuff. So China went back to the basics with the Type 81. This would fit perfectly in the game, but it never appears anywhere. It doesn't appear in this build. It doesn't appear like at any point in the final game. It seemingly was planned for usage. It, again, would have fit, but it's cut. Not sure why. You can load in Fragile Alliance, use it like any other gun. Looks nice, animates nice. I mean, I don't know. It could have worked as an addition to Fragile Alliance. Maybe they just decided to use more modern guns. Like, could have taken the place of the Vamazast or the other AK variants, but who knows. It's interesting. It didn't make the final cut, but you can load it and use it here like any other weapon. There are also some NPC exclusive versions of guns that are meant to appear in like Airstrike and other things like that. Outside of that, some minor differences I noticed are that the Vamazast seems more common in this version, though I could be wrong. And outside of that, I couldn't really get online play working. Maybe it would work with at least 2 people trying to do it. But then again, this is an earlier build, so it's par for the course. It's interesting, though. This is a case of something that seemingly is the same at first glance, but has a lot of changes under the hood. A lot of little hidden aspects that you can load back into it using the debug menu. I'd recommend giving it a look. Now, I did mention a build from 2009. That, I think, deserves a video of its own, because it's much different, much earlier, much rougher. You can barely finish one of the levels that's in it. There's only one level that's accessible by default. A friend of mine, Dusk the Crow, managed to get another level loaded, but she hasn't been able to since, and I haven't been able to do it myself. Trying to force the next level to load crashes the game. I'll tackle it another time. This already is big enough for a video on its own.
Here they come! Got ya!
But it's interesting. Would you guys like to have seen aspects of this make it to the final game, like the Type 81 assault rifle, Remington 700s, the SPW, or the RPG? Do you think they should have kept in the neck snap sound, or Lynch's SPAS 12 in the final level? Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being interested in cut content of games, and in Kane and Lynch too. That game is a classic, and I'm glad people have turned around on that. Take care.
Keep going.